Good evening, everyone. We will now begin the evening service of the Miroku Association headquarters, expressing our gratitude to God and Meishu-sama for blessings and protection received while participating in the construction of paradise on earth. Amatsu-Norito and Miroku Prayer, please stand. Taka amahara ni kanzu marimasu. カムロギカムロミノミコトモチテソメミオヤカムリザナギノミコトツクシノイムカノタチハナノオドノアワキハランみそぎ払いたもうときになりませる払いどの神たちもろもろのまがごとついけがれよ払いたまえ清めたまえごまをすことのよしを天津神国津神八百万の神たちともに雨の淵ごまの耳振り立ててぎこしめせとかしごみもまおす弥勒大神守りたまえ先はえたまえ弥勒大神守りたまえ先はえたまえ教えみよや主の神守りたまえ先はえたまえ教えみよや主の神守りたまえ先はえたまえこんながら魂はえませ。こんながら魂はえませ。Great God of light, creator and giver of all life, in accordance with your divine will, the long age of night draws to an end. Your radiant and divine light, shining ever more brilliantly, awakens the dawn of the glorious age of light, a time long awaited by all humanity. We thank you for guiding us to your divine plan and for the privilege of channeling and receiving Johrei. May our spirits and bodies be illuminated and purified as we live your truths given to us by Meishu-sama. Make us pure and effective instruments of your divine light so that we may serve you and all those with whom we come in contact. May paradise on earth be realized with health, peace, and prosperity, a reality in our lives. Great God of light, bless and protect us. Radiate our souls with your divine light so that we may truly become instruments of your great plan. Please be seated. We will now receive Group Johrei.
Meishu-sama, bless you.
Johrei is now concluded. We will now listen to a reading from Meishu-sama's teaching. I have been blessed. If I should ever forget the priceless gift God has granted me, the special blessing of new life, I would be little more than a beast. Just to be alive in good health without troubles brings me more happiness than all the wealth in the world. Whenever I pray at the sacred altar, my eyes fill with tears at the thought of my life renewed, a gift God has given me. Let us always remember that everything is governed by divine laws. God created the laws and He Himself observes them. If we act in accord with the laws, we experience an abundance of God's blessings. If we do not, regardless of how earnestly we may pray for help, we are adversely affecting our ability to receive them. This is an important truth to remember always. Those who have been restored to health through Johrei, from conditions that medical science has pronounced incurable, owe their life to God. They should always remember this and be very grateful. It is most important to literally live the teachings. Those who conform to the laws with understanding from the heart seldom have recurrences of purification in severe form. More than that, God's blessings will be showered upon them in abundance, and He will use such individuals as His effective instruments for the furthering of His plan.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining the evening service of the Miroku Association headquarters. Faith experience I would like to share this evening is from Conceição Dalla. She's from the Morro Bento Training Center in Luanda, Angola. Conceição is a Johrei member and she oversees the Ikebana Sangetsu activities. Faith experience that she would like to share with us is related to the practice of tithing, which is donating 10% of her earnings. In a conversation with a co-worker about tithing, she told Conceição that he never done such a thing. And told her it was a lot of money to donate. Conceição replied it wasn't much. It was just 10% of one's salary. Even so, the co-worker replied that he couldn't possibly do it. When the co-worker arrived, actually it was a she, not a he. When the co-worker arrived home, she found her son very ill and not knowing what to do, she took him to the hospital. Even so, her son's fever did not go down. A few hours later, the co-worker recalled the conversation she had with Conceição about tithing. Wasting no time, she went to her church and materialized the tithe. As soon as she arrived back home, she found her son looking better. The next day, when they met, she hugged Patricia, was the worker's name, tightly, thanking her because her son's life was at risk. She said to Conceição, it was God who moved you to talk to me about the practice of tithing. She said that she would do everything not to fail with this practice anymore. From this experience, Conceição learned that money saves and money kills. Whenever we have values in our hands, we must also take God's part and thank Him. Conceição is very thankful to the Supreme God and Messiah and Savior Meishu-sama for allowing her to be part of this great work of salvation. And I have another experience I want to share. It's from Cleilce Paula de Azevedo. It's from the Braga Johrei Center, Portugal. Cleusi has been a member for 10 years, and she's the person in charge for nature farming at the Braga Johrei Center. She had the opportunity to participate in the National Ancestor Service Preparation Seminar, held from their headquarters in Portugal by video conference, with missionaries from across the country. The seminar began with the guidance from their head minister, based on the three very interesting faith experiences about the three pillars of salvation: Johrei, art and beauty, and nature farming. The minister emphasized that the light of God and Meishu-sama only manifests in its fullness in our lives when our practice of the three pillars of salvation is strong and balanced. This was the motto of the seminar, and with the objective of reflect on their dedication, roundtable discussions were held for personal study. In her reflection, Cleusi could see that she puts emphasis in the practice of nature farming. She has a home garden, and she assists the members of her Johrei Center in this activity. Regarding beauty, she dedicates through the Ikebana Sangetsu arrangements that she always has at home and flowers of light that she does constantly for the Johrei Center and for distribution on the street. However, her practice of Johrei is not being very frequent, as she only dedicates on Wednesdays at the Johrei Center and sometimes at her home with her granddaughters. While in Brazil, from Brazil, there was a Johrei Center close to her home, and there was this possibility, but in Braga, Portugal, it is different for her. However, she made the commitment at the round table in front of the minister, other participants, and above all, before God, Meishu-sama and her ancestors, that she would somehow strive to channel more Johrei on a daily basis. 3 days after the seminar, while leaving her home, she asked God and Meishu-sama to utilize her as an instrument to bring the light of salvation through Johrei to the people she may meet. She went inside and asked if the products from my store were from their own crops. The lady said that they were and that the rest were from local producers. Nonetheless, Cleusi told the lady that she belonged to a religion that practiced nature farming and that she could support her efforts. The lady asked, "What is this religion?" Cleusi replied, "Oh, it is the Johrei movement." She was amazed and told Cleusi, "It was God and Meishu-sama who sent you to me, as I too am a member of the church. I'm Brazilian, I've been in Portugal for a year and a half, and I didn't even know that the church was here. Back in Brazil, I was no longer very active, but I really need to give service again. Thank you so much for finding me." Who was the most amazed was Cleusi. She was speechless. At that moment, she felt the enormous happiness of being used by God and Meishu-sama and by her ancestors. Her prayer request was promptly granted, and there is no greater happiness for her. Then Cleusi immediately offered her Johrei, who accepted immediately, and they went to a room to feel more comfortable. She received Johrei, and at the end, she asked if Cleusi still had time to channel more. Excuse me. And Cleusi happily replied, "Of course I do." She left the room, and a few minutes later, she brought a co-worker to receive Johrei for the first time. Cleusi was even happier. She didn't even want to believe what was happening. When she finished, this lady left, and after a minute, another co-worker came along with the member to also receive Johrei. Cleusi was astonished, saying to herself, "Am I dreaming, Meishu-sama?" She was so happy to have found a Johrei member that she immediately guided her co-workers, who were natives of Braga. Since that day, for Cleusi's happiness, she has been going every week to channel Johrei to these people, and she always takes flowers of light with her. They say they have been feeling very good, but in fact, they are helping Cleusi to feel happier and more fulfilled, and also fulfill the goal she had committed at the seminar, to dedicate with intensity and balance to the three columns of salvation in preparation for their annual ancestor service. Through this experience, she was able to see the importance of the national seminar and the preparation that we must do for this so special ancestor service in Portugal will be held on November 2nd. When we have a firm goal of wanting to improve our dedication, of being more effective instruments of God and Meishu-sama in the divine work, the doors for us open naturally. She made a special donation to express her gratitude for the dedication opportunity she had, thanks to God and Meishu-sama. Her goal is to continue to assist these people so that they also gain permission to dedicate themselves to the divine work and feel the enormous happiness and pride she feels in being used as an instrument of Meishu-sama. Thank you very much for listening to these inspiring faith experiences. I wish you a very wonderful evening, wonderful weekend. Thank you very much.
This brings to a conclusion our evening service. Thank you everyone for joining us and have a blessed evening.